We're live.
Oh, you're already live.
We are live. Welcome, everyone, to Anatomy 101 in room 1200 with your host, Mr. Catelli. So let's look at this beautiful model that I have here. We're going to talk about the vertebra today, everybody, while you have a sub. So hopefully you watch this video. We're on page, looks like 162 and 163 in the textbook. The first thing I want to talk about are these spinal curvatures. Now, this guy doesn't have great spinal curvatures, but there are a total of 4 spinal curvatures that we want to be familiar with for the test. All right, the first two are called primary spinal curvatures, and the thoracic curve and the sacral curve are called primary curvatures. Thoracic obviously occurs within the thoracic region of the body and the thoracic vertebra, and then the sacral curve is located down here where the sacrum is. If you read about the sacral curve, it provides room for various abdominal pelvic organs, and if you read about the thoracic curve, it provides room for the obviously organs found in the thoracic region. Those are the primary curves. The secondary curves are the cervical curve, all right, and the lumbar curve. The cervical curve and the lumbar curve form, right? If you ever have a baby or have held a baby, their heads are all over the place. Once babies learn to hold their head up, this cervical curve forms, and once babies learn how to walk, the lumbar curve actually begins to form. So 4 curves, 2 of them are primary. The thoracic and the sacral are primary. Secondary curves are the cervical and the lumbar. Holding your head up, okay, and then obviously being able to walk. Thoracic and sacral are going to appear when you are developing in your mother's womb. Hold that thought. Vertebra-wise, all right, we've got 3 distinct types of vertebra. The first one that I'm holding up here, can we see this? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
This is a standard cervical vertebra, all right? This right here is a standard thoracic vertebra, and this right here is a standard lumbar vertebra. Okay, there are 2 unique vertebrae that we want to be familiar with. It's this one right here. Okay, this is called the atlas. All right, and this is your C1 vertebra. So you need to be able to identify the atlas by itself, and it is the C1 vertebra because it's the very first vertebra. If you know anything about Atlas and I think Greek mythology, he holds up the world. So this is basically holding up your head. All right, so that is called the atlas, A-T-L-A-S. The second vertebra that's important is the C2. This is known as the axis. All right, it has this little projection sticking up on it called the dens, D-E-N-S, also known as the odontoid process, O-D-O-N-T-O-I-D process. We know what a process is. These 2 guys interact with each other. The atlas, C1, interacts with C2, all right, and that joint allows you to swivel your head, you can see that, from side to side. Ooh, all right. The atlas also allows you to, it articulates with the occipital condyles of the occipital bone. It allows you to rock your head back and forth. Okay, so yes. And then if you did the atlas and axis, it'd be that. No. C1, C2, you need to be able to identify these on the test. Standard cervical vertebra is here. This is the body. This is called the vertebral foramen. That's where the actual spinal cord goes through. These 2 holes are called the transverse foramen. So you actually have some nerves coming out of the bottom of your brain there, or whatever, that go out into your shoulders, so on and so forth. It has this process right here called the spinous process. It has 3 holes, 1, 2, 3. Standard thoracic vertebra, body, vertebral foramen. I'm not seeing any transverse foramen. It only has 1 hole, so that's an easy way to remember the difference between these 2. All right, cervical is going to have 3. Thoracic's only going to have 1. It also has the spinous process, but notice the spinous process is pointed inferiorly. Look at the spinous process of this guy. Ooh, it sticks out. So this one's going down, and it has these transverse processes sticking out. I know that the test has like pedicle and what else does it have? Facets and stuff like that. Probably won't ask you much about that. Then we go to the lumbar vertebra, the stocky, stubby vertebra. All right, there are big fat body, vertebral foramen, stubby spinous process, transverse process here. Definitely a little bit different looking than the thoracic. There are 7 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar. Ooh. Then we get down to the bottom. All right, we have the sacrum right here, which is 5 vertebrae that have been fused together as you develop. And then we have our coccyx, C-O-C-C-Y-X, which is known as the tailbone. And that, I think, is 4 vertebrae that have been fused together. We just want to be able to identify the sacrum, the coccyx. And then 147 right here, I think, and I don't know, the old book used to talk about it, is a protrusion or a hole called the sacral hiatus. Now, because this is a cheap model piece of plastic, it doesn't have that hole right there, but it's an area where they can, I think, insert a needle and numb the lower body. All right. I don't know if the book talks about that or not, but I'll look at it. All right. So really, that's kind of what you need to know about the vertebra. Any questions?